According to the statistic, airplanes supposed to be the safest transportation on Earth right now, right? But today, I want to share with you about one of the most famous and tragic incidents in the aviation history and its eerie mysteries behind it. So let's discover together. Behind the China Airlines Flight 611. So this horrible accident happened on May 25th, 2002. China Airlines flight number 611 took off from Taiwan heading to Hong Kong. But just 20 minutes after takeoff, as the plane was flying over the Penghu Islands, it suddenly disappeared from the radar, and the plane was disintegrated in the mid-air and crashed into the Taiwan Strait. And that 225 passengers, including the crew member on the airplane, all perished. So this plane crash left the airline in deep shock and sorrow. And the staffs immediately launched an emergency rescue plan, and they also cooperated closely with the relevant authorities because they are still hoping to find any survivors or even any wreckage. And various research and large numbers of ships, planes, and diving and searching equipment, they put in their best offer of this searching. But unfortunately, no signs of survivors were found. And in this horrific accident, hundreds of lives were lost. Therefore, people spontaneously held various memorial services to pray and sending their deepest condolences to the victims. Well, so far it seems to be a tragic aviation incident, right? But here comes the real story. Something really bizarre happened 6 days after, which is exactly 1 day before the Chinese funeral custom date. We also called it the 7th day. I'm going to introduce the background of the 7th day a bit. It is a traditional Chinese belief. It means that the souls of the deceased will finally realize that they are actually dead after 6 days, and they will all come home to say a final goodbye to their loved ones on the 7th day. And also on that day, on the 7th day, the family will also hold the funeral rituals for these deceased. And after the 7th day, these souls of these deceased can finally rest in peace. So let's go back to the incident. On the 30th May, which is 6 days after the incident, a citizen named Mr. Zhang, living in the Pingdong district of Taiwan, he received a terrifying voicemail on his phone from one of the crash victims. Because the content is a little bit disturbing, so I'm not going to play it in this video, but if you are interested, you can Google it and listen later by yourself. The audio was about 10 seconds, and the background of this audio is a very loud noise, as if you are right in the middle of the hell, because there were mixing sounds like ocean waves, hurricanes, and also explosion, which is all going on at the same time. And along with the loud noise, there was a very extremely desperate and fearful crying sound, a man's crying sound in this audio. And he's repeating Chinese, saying things like, "I don't want to die, please help me. I really don't want to die here," like phrases like that. And Mr. Zhang, who received this audio, is just a normal citizen. He's not related with any of those crash victims. And that moment, he was also feeling very strange and panic of receiving this strange and horrific voicemail. So he informed the police about what happened, but the police also couldn't find any clues because this thing is beyond eerie. So this audio was quickly being widely spread across Taiwan. And 1 month later, relative of one of the crash victims contacted Mr. Zhang and claiming that the sound in the audio is very similar with his father, who also died in that incident. But that's not the most bizarre thing, because according to the police records, the date of this voicemail being sent out was on May 24th, 2002, which is the day before the crash, one day before this crash, when the accident hadn't even happened yet. So how could the voicemail have been sent to Mr. Zhang? Like, was it a time travel? Or if this incident is already happened in another universe, right? There's no way to explain things like that. So people started to talk about this thing, and I concluded a few mainstream theories about this voicemail. So the first theory is that this voicemail is actually sent out by the passenger, because during the plane crash, he was in a very desperate status. So he recorded his final words in the last moment. But because of the situation, he accidentally sent it to the wrong person. And so that's why Mr. Zhang received this voicemail. But however, this plane was disintegrated in the mid-air. Like, technically, there was no time to record such a message. And the second theory is more leaning towards supernatural. This theory suggesting that it was actually the spirits of the deceased sending Mr. Zhang that message. And also, he received the voicemail on the 6th day, right? One day before the 7th day. So maybe it was the souls of the deceased crying for his sorrow before he returned home to his family. But there's also questions towards this theory. Why only Mr. Zhang received this voicemail? And the third theory is that this voicemail is totally fake. That Mr. Zhang just wants to get some attention and maybe have some income by faking this news. But this theory was firmly denied by Mr. Zhang itself. And what's more, back in 2002, like, the technology wasn't as advanced as it today, right? So also some professionals testified that if you want to fake that really like real audios at that time, it was actually extremely hard thing to do. So that's all the mainstream theories about this incident. But for you, what do you think? If you have any thoughts, you are welcome to leave your comments down below. And so that's the story of the tragic crash of the China Airlines Flight 611. And once again, thank you for watching and hope to see you next time. Bye bye!